I trusted her with everything. My secrets, my dreams, even my future. But the one person I thought would never betray me was the one who destroyed my life. And the worst part? She smiled while doing it. Her name was Sarah. We had been best friends since we were kids. The kind of friendship everyone admired. People always said we acted more like sisters than friends. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same schools, and shared almost every moment of our lives. Birthdays, secrets, late-night talks about our dreams for the future. Whenever something good happened to me, Sarah was the first person I called. Whenever something bad happened, she was the one who told me everything would be okay. At least, that's what I believed. Looking back now, there were small signs that something wasn't right. Little moments that felt strange at the time, but I ignored them. Because when you trust someone that deeply, you don't expect them to hurt you. A few years ago, my life finally started going in the right direction. I got a job at a marketing company I had been trying to join for years. The pay was good, the environment was great, and for the first time in a long time, I felt proud of where my life was heading. Of course, Sarah was the first person I told. She congratulated me and said she was proud of me. But when we met later that week, something about her reaction felt slightly off. She smiled and hugged me, but the excitement in her voice didn't feel real. Still, I ignored the feeling. I trusted her. A few months later, something unexpected happened. I met someone. His name was Daniel. He worked in another department at the same company, and we met during a project meeting. At first we were just co-workers, but we quickly became friends. Daniel was funny, kind, and incredibly easy to talk to. Before long, we were spending lunch breaks together almost every day. Eventually, our friendship turned into a relationship. For the first time in years, I felt like I had found someone who truly understood me. And just like everything else in my life, I told Sarah about him. What he was like, how we met, what kind of person he was. At the time, I thought she was just being curious. Now I realized she was paying much closer attention than I thought. A few weeks later, I invited Sarah over for dinner so she could finally meet Daniel. I thought it would be a nice evening, but from the moment she arrived, something felt strange. Daniel seemed a little nervous. Sarah seemed unusually interested in him. They talked a lot during dinner. They laughed together and seemed to connect almost instantly. Part of me felt happy that the two most important people in my life were getting along. But another small part of me felt uncomfortable. Still, I pushed the feeling aside. Why would I suspect anything? She was my best friend, and he was my boyfriend. Two people I trusted completely. A couple of months later, everything changed. One evening, Daniel came over to my apartment after work. At some point, he stepped into another room to take a phone call and left his phone on the table. A few seconds later, a notification appeared on the screen. The name on the message made my heart stop. It was Sarah. At first, I didn't think much of it. But then I saw the message. Last night was perfect. For a moment, I just stared at the screen. My mind refused to believe what I was seeing. But my hands were shaking as I opened the conversation. What I found completely shattered me. There were hundreds of messages between them, late-night conversations filled with flirting, plans to meet when I was busy or at work. Photos of them together. Photos that proved this wasn't a mistake. They had been secretly seeing each other behind my back. For weeks, maybe even longer. My best friend and my boyfriend had been lying to me the entire time. When Daniel came back into the room, he immediately saw the phone in my hands. The look on his face told me everything. He didn't even try to deny it. Long? He stayed silent for a moment before answering. Then he quietly said something that hurt even more. It started the night she came over for dinner. The night I introduced them. The night I trusted them both in the same room. That was when everything began. A few days later, Sarah called me. I almost didn't answer, but part of me needed to hear what she had to say. When I picked up the phone, I expected an apology. Instead, she said something I will never forget. She told me I should thank her. She said Daniel deserved someone who understood him better. In that moment, everything became clear. Sarah had never truly been the friend I thought she was. She had been comparing herself to me for years, competing with me in ways I never noticed. Opportunity came, she took something from me just to prove she could. That was the last time I ever spoke to her. I blocked her number. I blocked Daniel too. And slowly I started rebuilding my life without them. It wasn't easy, but eventually the pain started to fade. About a year later, I heard something interesting from a mutual friend. Sarah and Daniel were still together, but their relationship had become a disaster. They argued constantly. Trust issues had taken over their relationship, and eventually, Daniel started cheating on her too. When I heard that, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel angry either. I just realized something simple. Sometimes you don't need revenge. Sometimes life takes care of things on its own. About sometimes. Was Sarah ever really my friend? Or was she just waiting for the perfect moment to betray me? If you were in my position, what would you have done?